Alright, so we're up to chatting about training during phase 3, or the ovulation phase of the menstrual cycle. So if you remember from the graph in video number 1, that estrogen drops as ovulation occurs, but will then slowly rise again towards the end of phase 3, while progesterone is also slowly rising to reach its peak at the end of phase 3. So the big 4 tips for training during phase 3 of the menstrual cycle are, at number 1, we've got ensure adequate hydration, so particularly if exercising in warm weather. So during this time, research shows that some vital signs, including things like heart rate, breathing rate, and importantly, body temperature increase. Thankfully, there's no evidence that performance is hindered, but definitely stay on top of hydration in phase 3. Okay, so number 2 is to allow a bit of extra time for recovery. So due to the higher levels of progesterone, recovery during phase 3 of the menstrual cycle may take a little bit longer than usual. So as always, you should prioritize things like sleep and load management, but phase 3 is also a great time to add in some extra recovery strategies that make you feel good, like foam rolling and stretching. Particularly if your workout is on a hot day, you could also add in some cold water immersion. Okay, so number 3 of training in phase 3 of the menstrual cycle is to build endurance. So although all types of training are beneficial in phase 3, the higher levels of progesterone mean that it may be more difficult to build muscle. So phase 3 may be a great time to focus on aerobic and endurance training. The 4th and final tip for training in phase 3 is to make sure protein intake is sufficient. So it's thought that again, due to higher levels of progesterone, the breakdown of muscle is increased. Currently, it's recommended protein intake of 20 to 30 grams both before and after a really intense session. But if you need further help with nutrition, I advise to check in with a sports dietitian.